Hey everyone! Before we dive into this story, please consider subscribing to my channel for more heartfelt content like this. The phone rang at 6:23 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, just as the nurse on the morning shift was checking my chart. I'd been in the hospital for 3 days after a car crash that left me with a fractured leg, two cracked ribs, and a concussion that made the room tilt if I moved too fast. It was my brother Marcus, his voice tight with panic. Thank God you picked up, Sophia. Marcus, what's wrong? I asked, wincing as I tried to sit up, pain slicing through my ribs. It's Mom. She collapsed last night at home. They rushed her to Mercy General, and she needs urgent heart surgery. My heart froze. Is she okay? What happened? A massive heart attack. The doctors say she needs a triple bypass, but there's a complication. They're recommending an experimental procedure that insurance won't cover. I shut my eyes, the fog of painkillers clouding my thoughts. How much is it? $50. 000. We need it today, Sophia. The surgery's scheduled for tomorrow morning. 50,000. The number hit me like a wave, not because of the amount, but because of the urgency. My head spun, and not just from the concussion. I know it's a lot, Marcus continued, but we have no choice. I've called everyone. Dad's retirement savings can cover $20,000. I can pull maybe $10,000 from my business. We need you to wire the rest. I glanced around my hospital room, the beeping monitors, the bouquet from my assistant, the stack of get-well cards from colleagues who barely knew me. Marcus, I'm in the hospital myself right now. What? What happened? Car accident on Saturday. Broken leg, cracked ribs, concussion. I'm not exactly in a state to manage financial transactions. A pause hung heavy on the line. Sophia, this is Mom we're talking about. Can't you just transfer the money from your phone? I almost laughed despite the pain. Marcus thought I could just send $20,000 like it was spare change. He had no clue that the sister he saw as a struggling freelance graphic designer had $47 million in liquid assets. Nor did he know I'd been quietly paying Mom's medical bills for 2 years. I can't right now, Marcus. What do you mean you can't? Sophia, Mom could die. I understand how serious this is, but I can't send money right now. Why not? It's just an app on your phone. I struggled to explain without spilling the truth. The truth was I'd been covering Mom's medical costs, cardiologist visits, medications, prior ER trips through anonymous donations from my Helping Hearts Foundation. What Marcus didn't know was that Mom's surgery, including the experimental procedure, was already fully paid for. I'd arranged it 12 hours ago from this very hospital bed after Dr. Patterson, Mom's doctor, called me as her emergency contact. Marcus, I'm on heavy medication. I can barely think straight. Then give me your bank details. I'll handle it. I'm not giving you access to my accounts. Are you serious? This is Mom's life, and I'm recovering from a near-fatal accident 3 days ago. Sophia, stop making this about you. Mom needs $50,000, and you're the only one who might have that kind of money saved. The irony nearly choked me. Marcus thought I might have $50,000. In reality, I could buy the hospital if I wanted. I don't have $50,000 lying around, Marcus. Then take out a loan, use a credit card, sell something, figure it out. His voice cracked with desperation and guilt tightened my chest. He truly believed Mom's life was at stake, and he saw me as the selfish sister refusing to help. I can't right now. You're heartless, he shouted. Our mother is dying, and you're focused on your own problems. The call cut off. I sank back into my pillows, staring at the ceiling, fighting tears. The nurse, who'd been quietly pretending not to overhear, spoke up. You okay, honey? Family drama, I said weakly. My brother thinks I'm awful. Is your mom really having heart surgery? Yes, and it's already paid for. He just doesn't know. She raised an eyebrow. Why doesn't he know? I looked at her. This kind woman who'd cared for me for 3 days without knowing her patient was the CEO of Chin Digital Solutions, a tech company worth $340 million. Because my family thinks I'm broke. Are you? I gestured to the private room with its city view and premium amenities. Do I look broke? She smiled. I was wondering how a freelance graphic designer could afford the penthouse suite. Over the next hour, 3 more family members called. My sister Ashley, sobbing, begged me to find the money. My cousin Jennifer lectured me about family duty. My dad quietly asked if I could help. To each, I gave the same answer. I couldn't help right now. By noon, my phone buzzed with texts. Marcus, I can't believe you're abandoning Mom. Ashley, we'll lose her because you're selfish. Dad, disappointed in you, Sophia. This isn't how we raised you. I was reading the messages when my assistant, David, knocked on the door. Miss Chin, I brought the documents you asked for. David knew about my complex family dynamic. For 3 years, he'd helped me run the anonymous foundation covering Mom's medical costs. How's she doing? I asked. Your mother? The surgery was a success. Dr. Patterson says the experimental procedure went perfectly. She'll make a full recovery. It happened this morning at 10 a.m., fully covered by the Helping Hearts Foundation, as you arranged last night. Relief flooded me, and the family, still at the hospital, trying to figure out how to pay for a surgery that's already done and paid for. David handed me his tablet. The billing department's confused. The family keeps insisting they need to arrange payment, but the account shows a 0 balance. I scrolled through the records. The surgery cost $73,000, not the $50,000 Marcus mentioned. The experimental procedure alone was $35,000. My foundation had covered every cent. What's the hospital telling them? That an anonymous benefactor paid everything. The family's demanding to know who it is. My phone rang again. Marcus. Sophia. Something strange is happening. What? The hospital says Mom's surgery was paid for by an anonymous donor. They won't tell us who. That's great news. Is she okay? She's fine, but that's not the point. Someone paid $73,000 and we don't know who. Why does that matter? She got the surgery she needed. Of course it matters. We need to thank them. We need to know who spent that much on our mother. I glanced at David, who was stifling a grin. Marcus, maybe just be grateful someone stepped in when the family couldn't. We could have managed if you hadn't been so selfish with your savings. Your share could have made it work. I realized Marcus was more upset about the anonymous donor than relieved about Mom's recovery. His pride was bruised that an outsider had helped. Marcus, Mom's alive and healthy. That's what counts. No, what counts is some stranger thinks our family can't take care of our own. Maybe that stranger was right. The words slipped out before I could stop them. What's that supposed to mean? It means when Mom needed help. The family solution was to yell at the one member in a hospital bed. You could have helped if you wanted to. Could I? I told you I was medicated and recovering from serious injuries, and you called me heartless. A long pause. Sophia, if you just said you didn't have the money. I did say that multiple times. You chose not to believe me because you think I'm hiding some secret savings. I almost laughed. Secret savings? If only he knew his broke sister had more wealth than the entire family combined. Marcus, what if the donor was someone who cares about Mom and just wanted to help? I'd say they should have identified themselves so we could thank them properly. And if they didn't want thanks? If they just wanted Mom to be healthy? That's weird and suspicious. David shook his head, clearly exasperated. Marcus, I'm hanging up. I'm glad Mom's okay, but I need to focus on recovering. Sophia, wait. One more thing. The doctors are asking about Mom's medical history. They say someone's been anonymously paying her bills for 2 years. Cardiologist, meds, everything. My pulse quickened. What did you tell them? That we don't know anything about it. But who's been paying her bills? And why didn't she tell us? I closed my eyes. Maybe she didn't want you worrying about money. Or maybe she was embarrassed her family couldn't afford her care. You're looking at this wrong, Marcus. Think of it as someone who loves Mom ensuring she gets top-notch care without burdening the family. But who? And why hide it? David pointed to something new on his tablet. Marcus, I have to go. The nurse needs me. Sophia, one last thing. I'm sorry I called you heartless. I was scared for Mom and lashed out. I get it, but you still could have found a way to help if you really wanted to. After he hung up, I turned to David. What were you showing me? The hospital administration wants to meet tomorrow. They've connected the anonymous donor to their patient. They want to discuss a formal arrangement for your mother's ongoing care. How'd they figure it out? You're her emergency contact and the founder of the Helping Hearts Foundation. It wasn't hard to piece together. I sighed. So much for staying anonymous. Miss Chin, why not just tell your family the truth? I gazed out at the city skyline, the empire I'd built while my family thought I was scraping by. I wanted to see if they'd love me when they thought I couldn't help them. And now I know. Now you know your brother would rather be mad at you than grateful for an anonymous donor. That says a lot about his priorities. The next morning, Dr. Richardson, the hospital administrator, visited. Miss Chin, I understand you've been funding your mother's care through your foundation. Yes, she doesn't know. None of my family does. May I ask why? I explained how I'd built a thriving tech company while letting my family believe I was struggling. How I wanted to help Mom without flaunting my success. How anonymous donations felt like the perfect way. And now my brother thinks I'm selfish for not pitching in for a surgery I already paid for. Dr. Richardson nodded. Your mother wants to see you. She knows you're here after your accident. She doesn't know you're her anonymous benefactor. An hour later, Mom was wheeled into my room, pale but awake, with Dad and Marcus beside her, their faces a mix of worry and curiosity. Mija, Mom said, tears in her eyes. I was so scared when I heard about your accident. I'm okay, Mom. How about you? Like I got run over, but alive. She grabbed my hand. The doctors say I'll be fine. Someone paid for my surgery. An anonymous donor. Can you imagine? I squeezed her hand. I'm just glad you're okay. That's what matters. But who would pay $73,000 for someone they don't know? Marcus stepped closer. Maybe they do know you, Mom. Maybe it's someone looking out for you. But who? And why stay hidden? I looked at Mom, the woman who raised me, worried about me, never knowing her youngest daughter was more successful than she'd ever dreamed. Mom, what if the donor was someone who loves you deeply? I'd want to thank them properly. And if they didn't want thanks? If they just wanted you healthy, free from financial stress? I'd say they've got a kind heart. But family should take care of family. Dad nodded. We're not wealthy, but we look after our own. Even when one of your own is hospitalized. I asked softly. The room fell quiet. Sophia, Marcus said cautiously, what are you getting at? I looked at my family, Mom in her wheelchair, Dad standing by her side, Marcus, who'd called me heartless hours ago. I'm saying sometimes the people who love you most are the ones you least expect to help. Sophia, Mom said, confused. Do you know who the donor is? I smiled, meeting her gaze. Mom, I'm the anonymous donor. The silence was deafening, broken only by the faint beeps from the hallway. What? Marcus whispered. I've been paying your medical bills for 2 years, Mom. Through a foundation I set up. The heart surgery, everything, it was me. Dad collapsed into a chair. Sophia, that's impossible. You don't have that kind of money. I own a tech company, Dad. It's worth $340 million. 300, Mom couldn't finish. 40 million, I said. I'm the CEO of Chin Digital Solutions. We build software for Fortune 500 companies. Marcus stared, stunned. But you're a graphic designer. I was when I started the company. Now I'm a CEO with 200 employees and offices in 4 states. And I've been covering Mom's medical bills, so she wouldn't worry about money. Mom was crying. Mija, why didn't you tell us? Because I wanted to help quietly, without it being about my success. I wanted to take care of you the way family does. But we could have been proud of you, Dad said. We could have celebrated your achievements. Could you? Because when I needed support yesterday, Marcus called me heartless for not contributing to a surgery I'd already paid for. Marcus looked devastated. Sophia, I didn't know. That's the point. You didn't know, so you assumed the worst. I was scared for Mom. So was I. But I was also in a hospital bed with broken bones, and instead of checking on me, you demanded money. Mom gripped my hand. Sophia, I'm so sorry. We've been awful to you. You haven't been awful. You've been human. But maybe now you see why I kept my success a secret. For the next hour, we talked openly for the first time in years. I shared the story of building my company, the sleepless nights, the risks, the pride of creating something valuable. They shared their fears, their assumptions, their confusion about why I'd hidden my wealth. I want to pay you back, Mom said. Mom, You can't repay $300,000 in medical bills. 300,000? Dad's voice broke. 2 years of heart care adds up fast. Sophia, why spend so much on me? I looked at my mother, who'd sacrificed everything for her kids, who'd worried about my future while I built an empire in secret. Because you're my mom and I love you. I never want you to choose between your health and money. Marcus was crying too. Sophia, I'm so sorry I called you heartless. You're the most generous person I know. And I'm also the person who needed my family's support yesterday and got accused instead. How can we fix this? Dad asked. I looked at my family, these imperfect people finally seeing the real me, by letting me cover mom's medical costs without making it strange, by being proud of my success, not intimidated by it, and by remembering that family supports each other however they can. I smiled. Dad, love isn't a transaction. I don't help mom expecting anything back. I help because I can and because she raised me to want to help. As my family began to grasp who I truly was, I realized the most valuable gift isn't always money. Sometimes it's knowing someone loves you enough to care for you, even when you don't realize it. The anonymous donor had a name, and it was mine.